When you started your business, you probably incorporated as a C corporation, sub S, or an LLC. You did this for tax advantages, but most importantly, for legal protection, and for good reason. According to the Wake Forest Law Review, piercing the corporate veil is the most litigated issue in corporate law. Treasury and Risk Management magazine states 3 out of 5 companies will be sued for wrongful termination, and another 3 out of 5 will be sued for sexual harassment. If you're a one-person company with no employees and think you're protected, think again. You're probably more vulnerable than anyone else. All companies must meet legal requirements at the time they're incorporated and every day afterward in order to enjoy the full protection of the corporate veil. Companies do not exist in the same manner that people do. Companies exist only on paper through their corporate charter, bylaws, board of directors, resolutions, etc. If you can prove that your company has its own ongoing and separate existence, and that it's not merely an extension of you, then you qualify to be protected by your corporate veil. The key words here are ongoing and separate. According to the Cornell Law Review, once the courts determine you have not kept the separate existence of your company, 96% of corporate veils are successfully pierced. Think about that. Your board of directors, or members if you're an LLC, runs your company. That's true whether you're a one-person company with only one officer, director, or member, and that person is you, or if you're a publicly traded company. Simple written documentation of things like consents, minutes, resolutions, etc. create the only verifiable and physical proof that your company exists. In fact, in the eyes of the courts, this is the only way your business gets to continuously exist.
The new client, we identify the importance of having good corporate records. Most companies do not realize that they have to have corporate records, and they need to maintain them and keep them in file and in-house. A lot of corporations or companies think that their accountant is taking care of their corporate records and upkeeping them, but they're not. That's a requirement for the business itself to do. When the IRS agents come in and look at a company, that's one of the first things that they're gonna ask for is corporate records and identify if they've been maintained and upkeep throughout the year.
What most small business owners don't understand is that incorporating is only the first step in protecting their personal assets. The law requires that they keep records and they hold meetings, that they elect new board of directors every year. And these are things that most small businesses don't do because they don't know how or they don't understand how to do it. And most are unwilling to pay an attorney such as myself the money that is required for me to do this type of work. It's very time-consuming, very expensive. So because of that, they don't have the protection that they think that they have by incorporating. In essence, the door to liability is left wide open, and their personal assets are at risk.
Well, I myself had picked up a business a few years back and formed an LLC with 2 former business partners. A while later, it sold my ownership interest and thought I was completely done at that point. But about 1.5 years after the fact, after selling my interest, I was drugged back into a court battle where me and the other 2 founders were brought in and actually had to go to court. A lot of time, a lot of money that ended up being spent that could have otherwise been avoided had we kept good books and records.
Businesses are the targets of aggressive lawyers, frustrated customers, shareholders, members, employees, creditors, the IRS, jealous competitors, and on and on. These people have only one agenda: to make your personal property theirs. It's impossible for the court to protect you without written documentation. You can read horror story after horror story of business owners who have had their personal property seized because they didn't get it in writing. So what can you do to protect yourself? The answer is very simple. Document it. However, that's easier said than done. Most people simply don't take the time, don't know how to construct adequate documentation, or don't even know what to document.